Welcome to another episode of the Filipino Genealogy Channel. As part of our effort to introduce amateur genealogists to the basics of the subject of family history, we are once again doing another Genealogy 101 video. For today's video, we will present the common terms of kinship used in Western genealogy. Terms of kinship are the various combinations of relationships in a family. Parents, children, siblings, and others. To put it simply, these terms describe how one member of a family is related to another. Basic kinship also includes our relationship with our family, which can go directly upward or downward, which are lineal relatives, or sideways, which are collateral relatives. Kinship can be by blood, or through marriage. In the next few slides, let us discuss these terms in relation to actual people and their family dynamics. In this chart, we see the different direct line ancestors of megastar Sharon Cuneta. Although people usually use the term ancestor to refer to one's distant antecedents, any person directly above us can be an ancestor. This includes our parents and grandparents. To illustrate, Pablo Cuneta and Elaine Gamboa are the father and mother, or parents, of Sharon Cuneta. Catalino Cuneta and Miguela Pablo are the grandparents of Sharon Cuneta. Finally, Mariano Cuneta and Prudencia Garcia are Sharon's great-grandparents. The general rule is that you add great for every generation above your grandparents. The higher you go up, the more greats there should be. On the other hand, as opposed to ancestors, descendants are the people who are directly under you. These include your children, who are directly after you. The children of your children, on the other hand, are your grandchildren. And your grandchildren's children are your great-grandchildren. To illustrate, President Rodrigo Duterte's son, Paulo Duterte, is his child. Paulo's son, Rodrigo Duterte II, is President Duterte's grandchild, while his own son, Rodrigo III, is the president's great-grandchild. The general rule is that you add great for every generation below your grandchildren. The further you go down, the more greats there should be. Now that we are done with ancestors and descendants, let us talk about people who are still our blood, but are found sideways in the family tree. These are our siblings and our aunts and uncles. So, to illustrate, let us look at a simplified Lopez family tree. Gabby Lopez III is the son of Henny Lopez. Gina Lopez is thus a sibling of Gabby, because they share a common set of parents. A sibling could be a brother or sister. Simple enough. Going up one generation, the siblings of Gabby's father or mother are his aunt or uncle. In this family tree, Oscar Lopez is an uncle of Gabby. The sibling of Gabby's grandfather, Fernando, is the granduncle of Gabby. It is important to note here that the siblings of one's grandparents should always be called grandaunt or granduncle, and never great-aunt or great-uncle. The use of great should only start when referring to the siblings of one's great-grandparents. In this case, Paz Lopez, sister of Gabby's great-grandfather Benito, is thus his great-grandaunt. In short, siblings are your brother or sister. The siblings of your parents are your aunt or uncle. Siblings of your grandparents are your grandaunt or granduncle. You start using great with the siblings of your great-grandparents, and call their siblings your great-grandaunt or great-granduncle. Another type of collateral relatives are one's nephews and nieces, or nibblings, as Merriam-Webster would call it. Nibbling is a gender-neutral term, used to refer to a child of one sibling, as a replacement for niece or nephew. The word is thought to have been coined in the early 1950s, but was relatively obscure for several decades, before being revived in recent years. Using Jose Rizal as our main person in the tree, we can see that the son of his sister, Maria, Mauricio Cruz, is Rizal's nephew. The son of Mauricio, Ishmael Cruz, is Jose Rizal's grandnephew. Ishmael's daughter, Gemma Cruz Araneda, is Jose Rizal's great-grandniece. Another collateral relation is your cousin. The most basic definition of a cousin is that it is a child of one's uncle or aunt. However, as we go up or down the family tree, cousin terminologies become more complex. First cousins share a common set of grandparents. Second cousins share a common set of great-grandparents. Third cousins share a common set of great-great-grandparent, and so on. The degree, then, of cousinhood, whether first, second, etc., denotes the number of generations between two cousins and their nearest common ancestor. In this sample family tree of the Arenadas, with Sandro Araneda Marcos, the son of Bongbong Marcos, as our main individual, Mercedes Cacho, is Sandro's first cousin, because they share the same grandparents. Isla P. Araneda is his second cousin, because they come from the same great-grandparents. And Paulo Roxas, son of Mar Roxas, is Sandro's third cousin because they have the same great-great-grandfather. These are all straightforward, because they all have the same generation. However, what happens when we have two people who are not from the same generation? Then we add removed to the cousin relationship. The term removed refers to the number of generations separating the cousins. So a first cousin once removed is the child, or parent, of your first cousin. Your second cousin once removed is the child, or parent, of your second cousin. And your first cousin twice removed is the grandchild, or grandparent, of your first cousin. Returning to Sandro Araneda Marcos, we can see in his family tree that he and Mikey Arroyo, son of President Arroyo, are not from the same generation. This is where the term removed is added. Since Mikey Arroyo is the sixth cousin of Sandro's mother, Liza, then Sandro and Mikey Arroyo are sixth cousins, but one generation removed. To make it simpler, they are sixth cousins once removed. First gentleman Miguel Arroyo is Sandro's fifth cousin, twice removed, and so on. These are just the common terms for cousins. There are also types of cousins based on the gender of their parent in regard to the relationship to your parents. Parallel cousins are the children of same-sex siblings. For example, your maternal cousins through your mother's sister are called parallel cousins. While cross cousins are the offspring of opposite-sex siblings, such as your mother's brother's children, or your father's sister's children. Of course, in Filipino culture, all cousins in the same generation are simply called cousin, regardless how distant. And any person of our parents' generation, no matter how distant, are simply called aunts and uncles. As we go higher, then the cousins take the same title of our direct ancestors. And, finally, let us move to people in the family tree who are related to us but not by blood. These are the in-laws. To simplify our illustration, let us look at a simply family tree of President Aquino. The sister of Cory Aquino's husband, Tessie Aquino Areta, was Cory's sister-in-law. The parents of Ninoy were Cory's parents-in-law, father and mother-in-law. Meanwhile, the husband of Cory's daughter, Chris Aquino James Yap, was Cory's son-in-law. Other kinship terms vary and there are more depending on the cultural background. But for a start, these terms should be enough. That's it for today's video. We hope you learned something from today's video and enjoyed it. Catch us again tomorrow, at 8 a.m. Philippine Standard Time. As always, stay safe and goodbye.